The stars were silent, cold, and endless. Ethan's small salvage ship floated like a lonely shadow in the dark. He was not a soldier, not an explorer, just a man searching for broken machines and lost cargo to sell. But this night was different. This night the silence was broken. His scanner beeped, soft at first, then louder. A signal, weak and broken, came from the edge of his screen. He leaned forward, eyes narrowing. The signal was old, fading, but still alive. It was the kind of call that should have been lost long ago. "Distress beacon," his ship AI said in a calm voice. "Origin unknown vessel. Life support failing." Ethan's hands froze above the controls. He had heard stories about traps, pirates using false beacons to lure in victims, but his gut told him this was not a trick. He moved the ship closer, slowly, carefully, and then he saw it. A ruined vessel drifting near a dead star. Its hull cracked, metal twisted like paper. There was no power, no lights, only the faint signal begging for help. Against all logic, Ethan felt something stir inside him. Curiosity, yes, but also something else. Maybe pity, maybe duty, he could not turn away. "Prepare boarding route," he ordered. The ship AI tried to warn him. "This action holds risk, Ethan." He ignored it. Strapping on his suit and taking a breath, the airlock opened, and the cold vacuum whispered across his skin. He entered the dead vessel, his light cutting through the darkness. Every wall was scarred with fire. Every hallway broken and silent. He stepped carefully, hearing his own breath echo inside his helmet. The scanner on his wrist blinked. One life form detected, weak, very weak. Ethan followed the signal, through fallen doors and shattered rooms until he found it. At first he thought it was only a pile of debris, but then it moved. Small, fragile, glowing faintly. It looked like a wounded animal, its skin soft and strange. Almost transparent, its eyes too large, too bright, watched him with fear. He crouched, slowly raising his hands. "It's okay," he whispered, even though the creature could not hear through the helmet. He reached out, and as his gloved hand brushed its skin, something happened. The wounds on its body glowed, and then began to close. Ethan gasped, pulling back. The creature had healed. Touched by him, it looked at him again, not with fear now, but with hope. The ship AI spoke in his ear. "Unknown species, high biological risk, recommend immediate extraction or termination." Ethan's jaw tightened. "No," he muttered. He lifted the small creature gently into his arms. It was warm now, almost pulsing with light. He carried it back through the ruins, back to his ship, as the airlock closed. Ethan placed the creature on a padded bed inside his cabin. It curled into a ball glowing faintly like a living lantern. Ethan stared at it, wondering what kind of being it was. Part of him felt foolish. Why save it? Why risk everything? But another part of him felt alive. He had not felt this way in years. Hours passed, the creature slept, breathing softly. Ethan sat in the pilot's chair. Sipping cold water and staring out at the empty stars, he thought about Earth. About how humans always talked about being alone in the galaxy. Yet here, lying in his ship, was proof that they were not. And he was the only one who knew. He leaned back, closing his eyes. But a sound made him sit upright. A whisper, soft and broken, echoed inside his cabin. Ethan froze, his skin turning cold. The sound came from the creature. It was speaking. At first the words were strange, alien, but slowly, like broken glass fitting together, he understood. "Don't let them find me," the creature whispered, voice weak but sharp with fear. Ethan's heart pounded. Who was them? Why would anyone hunt something so fragile, so helpless? The creature's glow flickered, its body trembling as if shadows pressed on it. Ethan leaned close. "Who's coming?" he asked, but the creature had already fallen silent. He sat back in his chair outside. The stars were cold inside, the air felt heavy. Ethan could not shake the feeling that he had just stepped into something far larger than himself. Something dangerous, something alive. The scanner beeped again. Not from the creature, but from space itself. A new signal, strong and steady. A ship large and fast had appeared on the edge of his radar, moving directly toward him. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. The words echoed again in his mind. "Don't let them find me." And now they had. The silence of the ship was broken by a sound. Ethan woke with a start, his heart beating fast. At first he thought it was only a dream, some echo in his head. But then he saw the light. It came from the cabin, from the small creature he had rescued. The glow was no longer soft and weak. It was bright now, flashing like waves of fire and water. The whole room pulsed as if alive. Ethan shielded his eyes, stepping closer. The creature was no longer curled like a small animal. It stretched, twisting, its body bending in ways that seemed impossible. Its skin shimmered, changing color from silver to gold. Then back again, the air filled with a hum. A vibration so deep that Ethan felt it in his bones. He reached out, but the ship AI warned. Unstable energy detected, Ethan. Step back. He ignored the warning. Watching in shock, the creature's body grew taller, longer. Hands, arms, a face lie slowly forming, and then, with one final burst of light, the creature changed completely. A girl stood in front of him, her skin pale with a soft glow, her hair like threads of silver drifting in the air as if underwater. Her eyes, too large for a human, glowed with strange light. She looked weak yet beautiful, like something from another world. Ethan froze. He had saved a wounded creature, but now before him stood an alien girl. Her lips moved, shaky and soft. "You saved me," she whispered, her voice like music and storm at once. Ethan stepped back, gripping the edge of the chair. He could not believe it. One moment she was a helpless creature. The next she was this. He swallowed hard, his mind racing. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice sharp. She placed a hand over her chest, bowing her head slightly. "My name is Lyra," she said slowly, as if learning to shape the words. The ship AI scanned her, speaking coldly. "Warning. Unidentified humanoid species, extreme caution advised." Lyra turned her eyes to the glowing screen, almost amused. "Your machine fears what it does not know," she said softly. Then her gaze returned to Ethan. "They will come for me. The hunters, they never stop, never forgive." Ethan's blood chilled. He remembered the weak whisper from earlier. "Don't let them find me," and now she was here. "Speaking of hunters, who are they?" he asked. Lyra's expression darkened, her glowing skin dimming. "They are killers, destroyers. They hunt my kind because we can do what they fear. I am the last of my people, and they will not let me live." Ethan felt anger rise in his chest. She looked fragile, yes, but there was something more, something powerful hidden inside her. He could see it in the way her hands trembled with sparks of light. "What did I just bring onto my ship?" he thought bitterly. But another part of him whispered, "You saved her for a reason." Before he could speak again, alarm screamed. The red lights of the cockpit flared. The ship AI's voice cut in, sharp and urgent. "Warning. Incoming vessel detected, large and hostile. ETA, 2 minutes." Ethan spun to the radar screen, his chest tightened. A massive warship was approaching, fast, too fast. And its signal was locked directly onto them. Lyra's eyes widened, fear flashing across her face. "They found me?" she whispered, her voice breaking. She stumbled back, clutching her chest as if in pain. Ethan reached for her, but she held up a hand. "No. I must stay hidden. If they take me, they will burn your world next." The AI interrupted again. "Hostile ship has sent a message." A harsh voice filled the cabin. Metallic and cruel. "Human vessel, surrender the fugitive at once, or face destruction." Ethan clenched his fists. Every instinct told him to run, to hide. But he looked at Lyra, trembling yet standing tall. Something in her eyes begged for trust. He had a choice, to hand her over and save himself, or to fight against something far greater than him. He turned back to the console. "AI, prepare evasive maneuvers," he said firmly. The machine hesitated. "Ethan, this is unwise." "Do it," he snapped. The engines roared. The ship lurched forward, diving toward the nearby asteroid field. Behind them, the warship gave chase. Its weapons charging with deadly light, bolts of energy tore past, shaking Ethan's vessel like a leaf in a storm. Lyra placed her hands on the control panel. Strange symbols glowed across her skin. The screens flickered, and suddenly the ship bent around the asteroids with impossible grace. Ethan's eyes widened. "You're doing this?" Lyra nodded weakly, sweat shining on her skin. "My people could bend light, hide in shadows. I will help you, but it will cost me strength." Together they moved, man and alien dodging fire, slipping through rocks and debris. But the warship was not giving up. Its voice returned, louder and crueler. "You cannot run, human. Give her to us or be erased." Ethan's jaw tightened. He knew he could not escape forever. But he also knew one thing with certainty. He would not surrender her, not now, not ever. The cockpit shook violently, alarms shrieking as the enemy charged a massive weapon. Space itself began to ripple, light bending in unnatural waves. Ethan shouted, "What is that?" Lyra's face turned pale, her voice trembling. "They are tearing the veil of space, forcing us into the void." Before Ethan could react, a beam of black light struck his ship. The stars outside vanished. Swallowed by darkness, the ship spun, falling, crashing into nothingness, and then there was silence. Only Ethan's heavy breath remained. Only Lyra's faint glow lit the cabin. They were no longer in normal space. They had been dragged into a place no human ship had ever returned from. The void. Darkness swallowed the ship. No stars, no planets, only endless black. Ethan gripped the controls. Sweat running down his face, the panels flickered, warning lights flashing red and yellow. "We are off the charts," the ship AI said in a hollow voice. "Space does not register, we are nowhere." Lyra sat slumped beside him, her glow faint and unsteady. Her breathing was shallow, her skin pale. "This is the void," she whispered, her voice weak. "They forced us here. They want me trapped where escape is almost impossible." Ethan glanced at her, anger rising in his chest. "You said they hunt your kind, but why? Why use weapons that can tear space apart?" Lyra's eyes closed for a moment, then opened again with sorrow. "My people carried the gift of light. We could bend it, heal with it, even change it into power. But they feared us. They called us a threat, and so they hunted us until only I remained." Before Ethan could reply, the radar beeped. His stomach dropped, a massive signal pulsed through the blackness. The hunter warship had followed. It cut through the void like a blade, its dark hull glowing with cruel symbols around it. Smaller ships swarmed like hungry predators. The ship AI's tone sharpened. "Enemy fleet detected. Weapon systems charging." Ethan's heart pounded. It was not one ship, and it was an entire fleet. "And they were all here for Lyra." A voice filled the cabin, deep and metallic. It shook the walls, carrying both power and hate. "Human pilots, surrender the fugitive, and your death will be quick. Resist, and you will be erased from existence." Ethan's fingers trembled on the console. The odds were impossible. His small salvage ship against a fleet of hunters. Yet when he looked at Lyra, he knew the choice had already been made. He could not give her up. He could not let them win. Lyra leaned closer, her hand brushing the console. "We cannot fight them head on. But there is another way. This void is not empty. It is filled with shadows, with old wrecks, with dangers even they fear. If we move quickly, we may survive." Ethan nodded. Firing the thrusters, the ship leapt forward, diving into the black haze. All around them floated broken ships, torn apart by time and war. It was a graveyard of forgotten travelers, massive hulks drifting silently. Their lights long dead, the hunters gave chase, their weapons tearing through the void. Beams of fire lit the darkness, exploding against wreckage. Ethan twisted the controls, dodging debris, weaving through shattered metal. The ship shook violently, alarms screaming. But still they pressed on. One hunter ship cut close, firing a bolt of searing energy. The blast clipped Ethan's wing, spinning them into a broken cruiser. Sparks rained across the cabin, systems failing one by one. Ethan swore under his breath, fighting the controls with all his strength. Lyra raised her hands, her glow flaring brighter. The debris shifted, moving as if alive, forming a barrier between them and the hunters. The energy bolt struck the barrier, exploding into fragments of light. Ethan's jaw dropped. "You did that?" Lyra nodded weakly, her voice trembling. "It drains me. But I will not let them take me, not again." The fleet commander's voice returned, cruel and mocking. "You cannot run forever, human. Every breath you take is already a gift. Surrender the girl and your suffering ends." Ethan's eyes narrowed. He pressed the comms button and shouted back, "If you want her, you'll have to tear her from my hands." "And I don't break that easily," the hunters roared in response, firing again. The void itself trembled, waves of black energy spreading through the darkness. Ethan barely kept control as his ship skidded between two colossal wrecks. The hull screamed under the pressure. Lyra collapsed, her glow fading. Her strength was almost gone. "Ethan," she whispered, her voice fragile. "If they take me, they will use my power to spread death across the stars. They will burn your earth. They will enslave your people. Do not let them have me, even if it means—" Her words broke, tears glimmering in her strange eyes. Ethan shook his head sharply. "No, don't say it. I don't leave anyone behind, not you." Suddenly, the ship AI cut in, voice rising in alarm. "Warning, the enemy fleet has deployed a forbidden weapon. Energy patterns suggest a singularity device. Impact imminent. Ethan's breath froze. A singularity device, a weapon that could crush matter, tear ships apart, even bend the void itself. The hunters were not just chasing anymore. They were ready to erase them completely. The cabin shuddered, the view outside twisting unnaturally. The wrecks of old ships folded in on themselves, bending into shapes that defied reason. Ethan's stomach turned, his eyes wide with horror. This was no longer a chase, it was annihilation. Lyra's hand reached for his. Her skin burned with light, weak but still alive. "Trust me," she whispered, her voice almost breaking. "I can shield us, but only if we bond completely. Your strength, my light. Together we may survive." Ethan looked at her. Fear in his chest. He didn't understand her power. He didn't know if bonding with her would kill him, but he knew one thing. If he refused, they were both already dead. He grabbed her hand tightly. Her glow flared, wrapping around them. The cabin filled with pure white light. And then the singularity struck, the ship twisted, the void screamed, and Ethan's world went black. Ethan opened his eyes slowly. At first he thought he was dead. Silence pressed against his ears, heavy and endless. There was no alarm, no hum of engines, not even the faint sound of air. Only a low vibration that felt like a heartbeat under the skin of the ship. He sat up, his head aching. The cabin was dark. The screens cracked and flickering. Straps dangled loose. Tools floated slowly as if gravity had forgotten its duty. For a moment he wondered if time itself had stopped. Then he saw Lyra. She lay on the floor, her glow dim but still alive. Her silver hair spread like spilled light, her chest rising and falling in shallow breaths. Ethan crawled to her side, shaking her gently. "Lyra, wake up." "Come on," he whispered. Her eyes opened slowly, glowing faintly. "I held the shield, but it cost me," she murmured, her voice soft as broken glass. Ethan glanced out the cracked viewport, and his heart froze. There were no stars, no galaxies, no horizon, only blackness stretching forever, but it was not empty. Shapes drifted in the dark, ruins of ships. Hundreds, maybe thousands, some tiny, some massive. All broken, all silent. It was a graveyard. A place where time forgot. What is this place? Ethan whispered. Lyra pulled herself up slowly, her face pale. This is the deep void. A space between worlds, not meant for living ships. Not meant for human eyes. Everything that falls here is lost forever. Ethan's throat went dry. His small salvage ship, trapped in a place where no signal could escape. The hunters had forced them here. They had won. But then Lyra's hand touched the cracked glass. Her eyes grew distant, almost sad. "No, not all is lost. My people once walked these shadows. They left signs, hidden sanctuaries. If we can find one, we may escape." Ethan frowned. "Sanctuaries out here? Among this?" He gestured at the drifting hulks. It was a field of death. Metal torn, bones of ships scattered like corpses. Lyra nodded. "Not all wrecks are empty, some hide secrets. Some remember. They powered what little remained of the ship. Engines coughed, sputtered, but gave a faint push. The vessel drifted through the graveyard, lights sweeping across twisted giants. Some were alien designs Ethan had never seen. Others were human, their flags faded, their hulls eaten by time. He felt a chill. Humans had been here before, and none had returned as they drifted deeper. The shadows thickened. Strange lights flickered in the distance, moving like whispers. Sometimes Ethan thought he saw faces in the glass, eyes staring from the wrecks, but when he turned sharply, nothing was there. Lyra's voice was low, almost trembling. "Do not look too long, the void remembers. It feeds on fear." They came upon a massive ship larger than cities, its hull torn in half. Drifting endlessly, Lyra's glow brightened, her eyes widening. "This one?" "Yes, my ancestors walked here." She guided Ethan toward a broken entry port. Reluctantly, he docked the vessel, the airlock groaning as it sealed. Inside was silence deeper than the dark outside. The hall stretched wide, walls covered in strange markings, glowing faintly as if alive. Ethan felt the hairs on his arms rise. "This place feels wrong," he muttered. Lyra touched the markings, her hand glowing in response. The walls lit up one by one, ancient symbols shining with soft gold light. Her face filled with awe and sorrow. They were here, the last council of my kind. This was their refuge before the hunters came. As they walked deeper, Ethan saw something that made his chest tighten. Images carved into the walls. Humans standing beside Lyra's people. Side by side, sharing tools, sharing knowledge. It was not war, it was alliance. His voice cracked. You're saying, humans and your people, we were allies? Lyra's shoulders lowered, sadness heavy in her eyes. Yes, once, long ago, before greed broke the bond, some humans betrayed us to the hunters, sold us for power, and because of that we burned, because of that. I am the last. Ethan felt shame cut through him. The idea that his own species could have done this. But before he could answer, the air shifted. A low rumble echoed through the hall. The ground trembled, dust falling from the ceiling. Lyra's glow dimmed, her face turning pale. No, not here, not now, she whispered. Ethan spun, his hand reaching for the pistol at his side. What is it? From the shadows ahead, something moved. Not a machine, not a ship, but a beast of living void. Its form twisted, shapeless, eyes burning like black suns, it roared. The sound shaking the walls, Ethan staggered back. The vibration rattling his bones. Lyra's face filled with terror. It knows me. It remembers my kind. The monster surged forward. Its body like smoke and claws, it struck the wall, leaving deep scars glowing with black fire. Ethan raised his weapon, firing shot after shot. The bolts of energy vanished into its body, swallowed whole. Nothing works, he shouted. Panic rising, Lyra grabbed his hand, her voice fierce despite her weakness. Together, Ethan, only together. She pressed her glowing palm against his. A rush of heat and light poured through him, his vision blurred, his heart pounding as if two lives beat inside him. The corridor filled with blazing light. The void beast roared, shrinking back. Its body burning where the light touched it, but it did not flee, it screamed. And charged again, the sanctuary shook. Walls cracking, symbols breaking. Ethan and Lyra stood side by side, their bond burning brighter than the shadows. But even together, he felt the weight of the monster pressing down, and he knew if they failed, this graveyard would become theirs as well. The beast of the void roared, a sound like tearing metal in broken worlds. Its body shifted like smoke, claws stretching into endless shapes. Eyes burned like dark suns, staring at Ethan and Lyra with endless hate. The corridor shook, walls cracking as the creature pressed forward. Ethan's weapon shook in his hands, he fired again, bolts of blue light slamming into the beast. But the shots vanished, swallowed into its shifting body. It was like shooting into a storm. His heart pounded, sweat dripping from his face. This thing doesn't die, he shouted. Lyra grabbed his arm, her skin glowing. Alone. You cannot stop it, but together, we may stand. Her voice was steady. Though her eyes showed fear, she placed her hand against his. Pressing firmly at once, Ethan felt it, a rush of energy. Heat like fire racing through his veins. His vision blurred and then sharpened again. The walls lit up with golden light. Glowing in answer to Lyra's touch, their hands glowed brighter. And suddenly Ethan could feel her. Not just beside him, but inside his mind he felt her fear. Her sorrow, her strength, and she felt his anger. His stubborn will to fight. 2 lives, 1 pulse, 1 heartbeat, the void beast screamed. Its body trembling as if it felt the bond, it lunged. Claws sweeping down like blades of night. Ethan raised his hand without thinking. Light exploded from his palm, a shield of energy that burned against the monster's strike. The claws shattered like glass, fragments melting into the floor. Ethan gasped, stumbling back. What did I just do? Lyra's voice was inside him now, soft but clear. You are carrying my light. Your human will gives it form. Together we are stronger than either alone. The beast roared again, charging. This time Ethan moved with her. Their steps matched, their energy joined. He swung his arm, and light shot forward like a blade. It cut across the beast, tearing a line of fire through its smoky form. The monster screamed, its body twisting, shrinking, but it did not fall. The corridor shook harder, symbols breaking and shattering. The sanctuary was not built for such a fight. Ethan felt the bond pulling harder on his mind. Images flashed, memories not his own. He saw Lyra as a child, running through golden halls of her homeworld. He saw hunters storming in, fire raining from the sky. He saw her people fall one by one until only she remained. Pain stabbed his chest so heavy he almost collapsed. Lyra, stop, I can't, he gasped. She held his hand tighter, her voice breaking. You must see. You must know why they cannot take me. The beast slammed forward. Its body reforming, Ethan and Lyra pressed their joined hands outward. A wave of light surged. Smashing into the creature, the void screamed. The floor splitting open, black energy pouring through the cracks. The beast staggered, shrieking, its body burning brighter with every strike. But the more they fought, the weaker Lyra grew, her glow dimmed, her body trembling. Ethan felt her slipping. "No, stay with me. Don't let go," he shouted. She whispered inside his mind. "If I give you all of me, the light will end, you will live, I will not." "Then we find another way," Ethan growled. "I didn't save you just to lose you now." With one final surge, they pushed together. The light burst outward, filling the hall with a blinding glow. The void beast howled, its body tearing apart, fragments scattering into dust. The roar faded, leaving silence. Only the echo of their breathing remained. Ethan collapsed to his knees, gasping. Lyra fell beside him, her glow nearly gone. But she was alive. The corridor burned with the last traces of light. Walls cracked, but still standing. The monster was gone. For now, Ethan looked at her, his voice hoarse. "You risked everything, why?" She turned her head weakly, her strange eyes soft. "Because you risked everything first. You gave me a chance to live when I was nothing but a dying spark. Now we are bound, Ethan, whether you wish it or not." The ship AI broke the silence, its voice flat but urgent. "Warning, external scans detect movement. Hunter fleet remains active in the void. Multiple vessels closing distance." Ethan's heart sank. The battle with the beast had cost them. Systems were weak. Lyra was nearly drained. And now the hunters were coming again. He clenched his fists, forcing himself to stand. "We beat one monster, we'll beat the next," he said firmly. Lyra tried to smile, though her strength was fading. Her voice was faint but steady. "They will not stop. They want me because I carry the last spark of my people. If they claim me, they will use my light to build weapons beyond your imagination. Your earth would fall in days." Ethan felt his blood turn cold. The choice was clearer now. Protect her or doom his world. He looked at her, his chest heavy but his voice strong. "Then we fight together no matter the cost." Outside, the void stirred. The hunters were closing in, their ships glowing with black fire. Ethan and Lyra stood inside the shattered sanctuary, two against a fleet bound by survival, bound by light, and neither willing to bow. The void shivered like a living ocean. Shadows moved across the broken sanctuary. Ethan stood at the cracked viewport, fists clenched, eyes locked on the enemy fleet. Dozens of hunter warships glowed in the dark, their weapons alive with cruel fire. It was an army, a wall of death closing in. His ship floated like a small bird among predators, its hull scarred and bleeding sparks. The sanctuary behind him groaned, cracks spreading across the walls. The battle with the void beast had drained everything. And yet the hunters were here, stronger than ever. The ship AI's voice trembled with static. "Enemy fleet approaching in attack formation. Survival chance less than 1%. Ethan wiped the sweat from his face, forcing his breath steady. "Less than 1% is still better than 0, he muttered. Lyra stood beside him, her glow faint but still alive. Her hands trembled as she leaned against the console. She looked at him with sorrow and fire. "You do not have to stay. Ethan, if you give me to them, they may let you live. You can go home, back to Earth." "Forget this," Ethan turned sharply, his voice rough. "You think I'd trade a life for mine? You think I'd hand you over after everything? No, Lyra, I'm human, and humans don't abandon those they call friends." For a moment she stared at him, her eyes wide. Then her lips curved into the faintest smile. "You are different. Perhaps this is why the bond chose you." The hunters sent another message. The deep metallic voice of their commander filled the cabin. "Human, you stand in our way. This is your last chance. Surrender the fugitive or be erased." Ethan slammed his fist against the console. His reply was short, sharp, unshaken. "Come and take her." The enemy fleet moved as one, ships spread out, their weapons igniting the void with burning lines of energy. The first blast struck, shaking Ethan's ship so hard he nearly fell. Sparks burst from the panels, alarms screamed. Shields collapsing, the AI warned. Engines failing. Lyra placed her hand on the console. Her glow brightened, light spreading across the broken systems. The screens flickered, stabilizing for a moment. Her voice strained but fierce. "I will give you my strength, but once more may be the last. If I give too much, I will burn away." Ethan grabbed her hand, shaking his head. "No, we'll find another way. I won't let you die for me." But she looked straight into his eyes, her voice steady. "This is not only for you. This is for your people, for mine. For all worlds that will fall if the hunters win. Better one spark burns out than all stars go dark. The fleet closed in, warships circling like wolves. Ethan felt his chest tighten. He had faced fear before. But never like this, never against the impossible. Still his choice remained the same. He squeezed Lyra's hand, his voice calm and firm. Then we burned together, not one without the other. Their bond flared. Light surged through the ship, wrapping the hull in a golden shield. The engines roared with new life, brighter than ever before. Ethan felt power he did not understand rushing through him. The controls answered his touch like they were alive. The hunters fired, a rain of energy tearing through the void. But the golden shield shimmered. Bending the blasts away, Ethan pushed the thrusters, his ship leaping forward. For the first time the hunters staggered. Their prey no longer ran. Amid fought, Ethan dove through the enemy line. Lyra's light guided him, each movement sharper. Faster, impossible, they fired as one. Bolts of energy turning into beams of pure light. A hunter cruiser exploded. Its hull breaking into shards, another fell, cut in half by the glowing ship. The fleet roared in fury, their formation breaking. Ethan laughed bitterly, his eyes wild. Not so easy now, is it? Lyra's voice filled his head, weak but steady. Do not let pride guide you, Ethan. We are still one ship against many. The commander's voice returned, louder, crueler. You dare resist, human? You dare wound us? You will watch your light extinguish, and then we will burn your earth. The largest ship emerged from the dark, a warship unlike the others, vast and terrible. Its hull was covered in scars and ancient marks. Its weapons glowed with black fire. Ethan's breath caught as he saw it. This was no ordinary vessel, this was the flagship. Lyra staggered, her face pale. Her voice trembled as she spoke. That is him, the one who led the slaughter, the one who ended my people. The warlord. Ethan's jaw clenched, rage boiling in his chest. The warlord's ship loomed larger, casting shadows across the void. And then the voice came again, deep and sharp as a blade. Human Ethan, I know your name, I know your world. You will kneel. Just as her kind once knelt, Ethan froze. The warlord knew him, not just as a pilot, not just as a random man, but by name. Lyra's eyes widened in horror. They know you. They have watched you. This is not chance. This was meant to be. The flagship's weapons charged. The void shook with power. Ethan tightened his grip on the controls, his voice low but fierce. Then it's not chance, it's destiny. And I'm not bowing to you. The final battle had begun. The flagship of the hunters filled the void like a black mountain. Its cannons burned with shadows, its hull alive with cruel symbols that pulsed like veins. Ethan's small ship looked like a spark against the giant. Yet he refused to bend, refused to run. The warlord's voice shook the air, sharp and merciless. Human Ethan, I know your kind, I know your weakness. You stand where your ancestors stood, and you will fall the same way. Ethan's hands gripped the controls, his voice steady. You know my name, but you don't know me. You don't know what humans do when the odds are impossible. Lyra stood beside him, her glow faint but her eyes burning with fire. She leaned close, her whisper soft but unbroken. He carries truth in his words. If we fall together. But I believe we can win. The flagship fired. Beams of black energy ripped across the void. The golden shield around Ethan's ship cracked, sparks bursting across the panels. The hull screamed as if alive, but the ship held. Ethan pushed the thrusters, weaving through the blasts. Lyra's light poured into the systems, guiding every move. They struck back, their small vessel shining like a blade of light. Bolts of energy lanced across the void. One hunter frigate exploded, another spun out of control. But the flagship did not flinch. The warlord laughed, a sound like thunder breaking stone. Do you think one ship can change fate? Your kind already chose betrayal long ago. It was humans who gave us the power to burn her people. It was your kind who sold them for greed, for fear. Ethan's breath caught. The word stabbed deeper than any blade. He turned to Lyra, but her eyes were already filled with pain. She whispered, I feared this. That humans betrayed us, not just hunters. That is why my people fell. That is why I am alone. Ethan shook his head violently, his voice hard. No, maybe some humans betrayed, but not all. Not me, not now. I won't let your story end with betrayal again. Lyra stared at him, tears glimmering in her glowing eyes. Her hand reached for his, and together their bond burned brighter. Light surged through the ship, stronger than before. The hunters reeled as the vessel glowed like a second sun in the void. The warlord roared in fury. Then you will die as they died. The flagship unleashed a storm, black fire pouring across the battlefield. Ships exploded around them, the void twisting with the force of weapons older than memory. Ethan's ship shook, systems failing one by one. The AI's voice broke in static. Warning, power collapse. Core overheating. Ethan gritted his teeth. This ends now, Lyra's voice entered his mind. Calm but filled with sorrow. There is one way. If we merge completely, body and soul, the light will not just shield us. It will destroy him, but if we do, Ethan, we may not return as we are. He looked at her, breath shaking. What does that mean? Her eyes held both fear and hope. It means we become one. No longer human. No longer alien, something new, something that can survive. The flagship loomed closer, weapons glowing for the final strike. Ethan's chest ached with the weight of the choice. His life, his humanity, everything he knew, or the chance to end this. To save Lyra, to save Earth. He squeezed her hand, his voice firm. Then we do it together. The bond flared like a star exploding. Light poured through every panel, every wire, every piece of the ship. Ethan felt his mind and body dissolve into Lyra's. Her sorrow became his rage became hers. Two voices became one, two lives became one. The hunters screamed as the ship transformed. No longer metal and engines, but living light. Wings stretching wide across the void. The flagship fired its final blast, but the beam shattered against the burning wings. Ethan and Lyra, merged as one, dove forward. Their light pierced the warlord's ship. Tearing through its heart, the flagship exploded. Black fire collapsing into itself. The rest of the fleet scattered. Fleeing into the shadows, the void shook, cracks of light tearing it open. The prison the hunters had built was breaking, and Ethan and Lyra rode the storm out when the light faded. They found themselves above a quiet world. Blue oceans, green forests, clouds drifting like whispers. It was not Earth, not Lyra's home, but a safe place untouched by war. Their ship, broken and glowing, rested on the soft soil of a valley. Ethan stumbled out, his body changed. His skin carried faint light, his eyes brighter than before. Lyra stood beside him, no longer fragile. Her glow now steady, her form strong. They looked at each other, not human, not alien, but something new, a bond made of survival, of trust, of sacrifice. Ethan spoke softly. So this is it. A new beginning. Lyra nodded, her voice calm but filled with hope. Yes, not the last of my people. Not just another human, something different. Something stronger. They stood together. Watching the new sky, the hunters had been defeated, but not destroyed. The war was not over. But a spark had been lit. A spark that could burn brighter than fear. For in the end, one man had chosen to save a helpless creature, and in doing so had changed the fate of two worlds forever.